Hi, this is Matthew from Knockout Depression, and I want to talk to you about glimmers. Okay, so first of all, what is a glimmer? So most of us are familiar with the term triggers when it comes to our mental health. So those things that provoke a strong emotional response, perhaps linked to negative events, things that have happened to us that have been distressing. So the principle of a glimmer is kind of opposite to that, really. Something that offers a glimmer of hope, something that triggers, even if it's just for a very small amount of time, something that triggers the hope that things will be okay. To give a boxing themed example, think about Rocky 4. So when Rocky's fighting Drago and he's built up as this unbeatable machine that nobody can hurt. And at the end of the second round, Rocky cuts us, Hook, and cuts him. And goes back to the corner at the end of the round. You see, he's not a machine, he's a man. You've hurt him, you've cut him. So now Rocky's still getting bashed to pieces, as tends to be the way with Rocky. So he's still getting bashed up and hurt as the fight goes on. But he has that glimmer. He knows that he can hurt him. And if he's hurt him before, he can hurt him again. So glimmers are those things that can really help us to keep going, to continue to persist, to endure when things are difficult. Because it gives us that moment of hope, something to believe in, something to keep going for. Now, I want to give two examples of glimmers from my own experience. So when I was really struggling with depression, I was in a really bad place with that. And the first one comes, it's quite a simple one, really. I remember being upstairs in my bedroom and finding things very, very difficult. And I just said, well, I kind of spoke out. Now, who to, what to, who knows? But I said, show me that I'm going to be okay. Just give me a sign that I'm going to be okay. And I opened the blind and light just cut through. Just cut through. And for that split second, the feeling was, it's going to be all right. The second one relates to a time where I'd been off work sick for a few months and I was having to go back. And I was very, I wasn't ready. I was still very unwell. But basically, I had to go back for financially. Obviously, the bills don't pay themselves. I needed to go back to work. So, and I was very concerned, worried about how that would impact me. I'd had severe breakdown at work before, so I was very concerned about that. On the morning I was due to return, I was sat down, I was having my breakfast, had a cup of tea, and I was reading a book by George Foreman, the famous boxer who sadly passed away recently. And it's called God in My Corner. It's his spiritual memoir. And the bit that I was up to in the book, I wasn't looking for a particular page, it was this bit I was up to, I read that morning, was about his fight with Michael Moorer when he won back the World Heavyweight Championship at the age of 45. And the first words that I read were about, maybe you're about to embark and I'll come back in your own life. And how it's difficult and there's kind of, it's not going to be easy. There's kind of stumbling blocks and barriers along the way. You can find ways to overcome those barriers. And it just felt like, I'm going to be okay. That's what I needed right then. So again, to reiterate, it gave me that sense in that moment that things are going to be okay. I always talk about with depression that there isn't a one-punch knockout. There isn't a single thing that, bang, you have a realization or you do something that suddenly, oh yeah, I'm better now. It doesn't work like that. And it's often about the small things that accumulate that help us to turn the corner and loosen depression's grip on us. And those glimmers can really be important steps in helping us along that way, in helping us to endure. Again, going back to the analogy of a fight and the example I gave of Rocky, we talk about it's just one more round, we win a punch at the time. And it's those little things that help us to throw a punch. Now, I mentioned when I gave the first example about when I asked for a sign. I asked to see a sign. Show me something that tells me I'm going to be okay. Now, we all have different beliefs. And, what's important is the impact it has. Now, could that have been some, force from above that listened and answered? Maybe, maybe not. But the key thing is my attention was focused on noticing something that helped me in that moment to believe for, again, even if it's just for a split second, that I could be okay. And that's really important when we're struggling with depression, where it can really sap us of hope, of belief, of any faith in things being okay and in ever feeling like you again. It's very hard to kind of naturally be optimistic and positive when we're in the grip of depression. So we do have to be proactive in looking for those things, and they are there. They're always there. There's always reasons for hope. Problem with depression is it really prevents us from seeing them. And this concept of glimmers, this idea that they're out there, that we need to find ways to see and recognize them. And like I said, it really adds up, it accumulates. So again, if you think of it, punches, it can add up from a single shot to a combination where we start feeling more positive things to take forward and to bring to the fight with depression. So what I want you to do is to actively look for glimmers in your life. Get into that habit of looking for small things that give you a sense that, things are going to be okay. They really can offer moments of light amongst the real dark time of depression. If you like, don't forget to please subscribe and follow the channel. And you can also download our free resource, Getting Up When You Think You Can't, which offers 12 powerful lessons that boxing can teach us to help us to come back punching and knock out depression. Please do share below glimmers that you have noticed, that you have found, that have helped you to give you those moments of belief, of hope, of inspiration. And Matthew, thank you very much. Now, most of us are aware of the term triggers. Shut up, Doyle. How you go?